Hey, hi all. In this video we will discuss about developer console. So first of all, what is developer console? As its name suggests, it will be a console where developers develop the code. So the developer console is nothing but an integrated development environment, that is IDE, with a collection of tools you can use to create, debug and test applications in your Salesforce org. We can open the developer console. It will take a couple of clicks to open the developer console from Salesforce Classic or Lightning Experience. We have to just navigate to the setup. We have to just click on the setup, and then there is a developer console. So it's your one-step solution for a variety of development tasks. You can navigate, open, create and edit Apex classes and triggers, Aura components and Visual Force pages and components. It doesn't support LWC, the developer console which we have in Salesforce inbuilt. We can browse packages that you have created in your org. It will generate logs for debugging and analyze them using different perspectives. We can set up that. We will later discuss the perspectives, how we can set that. We can test the Apex code to ensure that it's error free. We can identify and resolve errors by setting checkpoints in the Apex code. We can write and execute soql and sosl queries to find, create and update the records in the org. The developer console is connected to one org and it's browser based. So as you can see, the developer console is open on the same browser. So in this developer console we have 4 or 5 tabs. So first is file. If you want to create a new Apex class or trigger, if you want to create a new component, then you have to go there. You have to select accordingly, like if you want to create an Apex class, Apex trigger, Visual Force page or a Visual Force component or a static resource or a Lightning application. So in that manner, what you want to create, you can select and then you can just write it down. Like the name of the class might be the test1 class for an example. So this will be created. In the same manner, if you want to open any of the existing classes or triggers which you have in the org, you can navigate to it, and then you can select the entity type. If it is a class, it's a trigger, page component or an object or a static resource or a packages. So for an example, I will select object and then I will go to account object. So if I will click on this and I will click on open, then the account object will open up. Okay. If I want to query on account object from the same, from this developer console, I can just select the fields here just by pressing Ctrl and selecting the fields. So a query will be generated. soql will be generated. You can add the filter conditions, that is where conditions according to your use case, but that's how we can perform soql to check what our org has in that particular fields on that object. Then moving ahead, we have open resources. So resource will have the Lightning components which we have, that will have the Aura components, not the Lightning components, because Lightning components include both Aura as well as LWC. But in LWC we cannot see the LWC components in the developer console as of now. If in the future it's updated, then we will be able to see it and edit it, might be. Then we have open Lightning resources. So these are some of the Aura components which we have in the org. So if I click on this, then all the files will open up, component, controller, which all elements it has, and then we can navigate to it by just clicking on that. Sorry, I have to open all. Then this will open up. So it's an Aura component, as you can see. Okay. I will open resources once. Resources is nothing but it's a collection of Apex only. So if I want to open, I can open that also. Okay. So these are opening in multiple tabs. How if I open 50 classes or 50 Apex classes, or I open some of the classes and triggers, then it will be 50 tabs itself. So that will be, that is the thing. Then we have open log, then open raw log, download log. These all things, when we execute something in this console, then logs will be generated. If we have 15 tabs open at a time, might be an account trigger. At the same time we have open contact trigger. At the same time we have open contact controller. We have changed something in every component or every tab or every class. Then if I click on save all will be saved at the same time. It might take some time to save it. Then if you want to delete something, if you want to close, and if I click on close all the tabs will be closed. Okay, so this is the one. Then we have edit. In edit we can search in the files. For an example, if I search for the name field, so wherever this name field is used, we can check that. For an example, you have a field, you know the API name, but where it is used in the classes you don't know. So just you have to put that particular API name in this. Just you have to hit the enter button and the results will be there. Then you can just go to that particular class and you can check where it is used. It is used here. So in this manner you can check where all these things are used. Now there is something find and replace, find, replace all. So this you can do by means, like for an example, you have a class with 1,000 line of code, and it's very hard to know on which particular line this particular variable is used when you are debugging, or when you are when you want to do any enhancement in that particular class itself. At that time you can easily find it using Control F. You can find that. So for an example, I click Control F. Oh, sorry. We have to click on the canvas or this editor once, developer console, and then we can click Control F. So I will search for name. Just hit enter. So the name is here. Okay. If you want to replace something, for an example, you are having an you are having something in the custom label, or custom label name is updated. You want to change it, or you want to change any variable name, then you can just find and replace, or find and replace all according to your use case. So what you want to replace it with, for an example, IT. Oh, sorry, replace. Okay, so fine, I will go to find and replace. I want to replace name. It is find and replace. So replace name. So I have written name. So this name will be replaced with IT. Yes. So as you can see, previously it was name, now it is IT. So it has been updated to IT. So that's how you can replace the things without, for an example, for an instance, you have to replace it 50 times in a class. Then you will be just searching it, replacing it, and it will take 50 clicks. So it's the best use case that you can use this functionality which is given by the developer console. Just go to the edit tab and just select find and replace, or find replace all. So all the name will be replaced with IT in one go. So this is fixed indentation. So for an example, this is here. Sorry. So if you select Control A to do this, what was that? Shift tab. So for an example, I will do Shift tab. So now it is the indentation is in line with the previous lines. So in that manner you can use that use this. If your class is, for an example, this is this side, this is also not aligned to anything. Now you want all should be in the same line, so it will be readable format. So just select Control A, Shift tab. So all will have the same indentation majorly. Okay. So that's about the two tabs, that is file and edit. So now we will move ahead to the workspaces. So previously, as I said, like if you open, for an example, I will open multiple classes here. So we have to just click on Control Shift O, and then I will select multiple by clicking on Control and selecting the classes. Open all of them. It might take some time. So now if you want to change anything in that class, you have to just click on this arrow and then you have to go there. But in this place, for an example, this is a workspace. In workspace you can have different tabs altogether. So workspace in developer console help you organizing information to show just what you need as you work on each of your development tasks. Although it sounds like a fancy term, a workspace is simply a collection of resources represented by tabs. So this is nothing but, for an example, if I go to the testing workspace which I created, so there is only contacts on account. If I go again to default workspace, it will have all the tabs open, as you can see. If I want to switch between them, I can use the workspace manager or the switch workspace. If I want to create new workspace, then I can mention test 1 2 or workspace 1 2 3. I will hit OK. A new workspace will be created and there will be no tab. Now I will go and I will open one account brand here. So now account brand object is in workspace 1 2 3. Now if I will go to testing workspace, the contact on account class will be open. If I go to the default workspace, so all the classes will be open, which we have already set. So in this case, what we have to do, we have to just click on the arrows and then we have to select that particular class. So workspace is simply a collection of resources represented by tabs. So it's a collection of resources represented by these tabs. So these are the tabs in a particular workspace. In the main panel of the developer console, you can create a workspace for any group of resources that you use together. So for an example, if you are working on two different projects, you can have the related code, tests and logs open simultaneously in separate workspaces. Okay. So as soon as a new workspace is open, all the things for that particular workspace will be there. So whatever SOQL you had in that particular workspace will be there. So for an example, we are now in the default workspace and we have this particular SOQL query. But if I go to another workspace for testing, in the testing workspace, in this workspace we will not have this query. So if you go to the query editor, there is a different query, okay, which we had earlier. If I go to this workspace, that is workspace 1 2 3, in that we have the same query. I think so query will be, okay, so the query will remain, but it should not be the case. Okay, might be submission. No, yeah, so workspace it shares the same ground, that is developer console. It's just the tabs will be different accordingly. The queries can be same, it cannot be either way, because for an example, if I go to this, if I write select ID from contact, if I say okay, execute that, so a query is executed, all the accounts in this particular org and their ID is there. I will just again go to the default workspace, it is account, and then I will go to the workspace 1 2 3 and then there will be new query. Okay, so you can update the query in that manner. So thank you, that's all for the two tabs. Remaining we will discuss in Now we will discuss about the debug logs. So first of all, what are debug logs? So as a developer, you review your system logs to check that everything is in the working order. Logs are one of the best places to identify problems with the system or program or the feature which you are working on. Using the developer console, you can look at various debug logs to understand how your code works and to identify any performance issues. So how we can view logs in the text editor? So for an example, I want to execute this particular code, so a debug log will be generated for this. So for an example, as you know, this is a trigger on contact object. So I will just go to debug, open execute anonymous window. It will execute the code anonymously. So we have to just execute in this. I'm basically creating a contact. So this particular trigger will run and a debug log will be created. So I will just execute it. And as soon as the particular contact is created, a debug log is created. In the logs, I will just double click on that, then that particular debug log will open up. As you can see, this is a debug log. In this we can check, like for example, if there is any debug statement in this, that is system.debug, then only that particular thing will be visible when we click on this checkbox, that is debug only. So as you can see, there is a list of contacts which are there. So if you go to the code and you see this particular thing, system.debug contact list, where all the contacts will be returned with the IDs. So this is nothing but a contact list with the IDs. So if the list is too long, then some of them will be there and rest of them will be in the ... Means like it's a etc next. So this is an anonymous window. Other way is if we go to the UI in the org and then we create a contact, then also this debug log will be generated. So for testing it on the developer console only, we can just go to that. If you want to execute the last executed code itself, then you can go to the then you click on the execute last. For an example, there was something changed by you in this particular class, and then you tested it, and again you changed something in that particular class, then you can just click on that execute last, and then again that particular class will be executed and the new result will be seen in the debug logs as per the changes you have made in that particular class. Then if you check auto hide logs, then it will hide the logs automatically, show my current logs only. So if you can see, there only one log which is created recently, so that's the reason it is showing up. Show my current checkpoints only, so we haven't set any checkpoints, so there will be no checkpoint data in it as of now. We will cover it later. Then if you want to clear the log panel, if there are too many logs created in this, then it will be very hard for you to get to the right log. So it's best when you are whenever you are debugging something, just clear it off. So just go to the debug, clear, and then log panel. So the log panel will be cleared off. If you see, there is nothing in that particular log. And then there is change log levels. So there are some of the log levels which are predefined, that is a general log level. In this particular debug level, all the classes will run. Now this is a finest debug level which we have created. So if you want to create a new debug level, you can create it like info debug level. So all the things are in info. If you want to change it, you can change it to info, debug, or finest, whatever you want, you can change it. So all the Apex code will be running in the finest debug level mode. So I can add it, and if you want the info level, then you have to just select it, click done. So if you see, now it is info, the debug level is info. So if you want to run a specific class or trigger, or you want to debug any specific class or trigger in a different debug level, so you can select that particular class by using this add button. You can select the name of that particular class. For an example, any class I pick. It's a control. Okay, I will add it. So there is no debug level in it. If you want, you can add it. You have to add it, then only it will run in that particular debug level mode. In the same way, if you want to trace or track any user, then you can add the user ID. Then you can set the debug level for that particular user, and it will return the values accordingly. Okay, so that's all for the debug part. So there is something switch perspective, then view log panels. So once you open a debug log, for an example, if you go to, if I click execute, I execute it again. And for an example, if you go to the execute anonymous window, if you select open log, so the first log will be opened automatically as soon as it executes it. So this log will open up. Then if you go to the debug, so all the grayed out options will be available with you. So this is nothing but a switch perspective. You can create a perspective of your own for the log panel. So if I go to the log panels, we have stack tree. If you select stack tree, you will get to know the tree of this. So we have contact insert, then apex trigger is on contact. So what is the query which we have used, how much time it has taken, or how much storage it has taken for that moment. So that all will be there. Then performance tree you can check. So this is the performance tree, how many iterations it includes. Granular level data, you can track it. If you go to the execution stack, then select ID from contact, this was the duration. So on a granular level, you can check it. If I select stack tree, execution stack, what were the sources? So the sources was contact. Then so for an example, I remove this too. Then the sources were the contact. What were the DML? This is an DML. And then what were the soql which we have used. Then the source list, it will show all the things which we used. So apex trigger, on contact, on account, then all the things. Then the variables, we have to set it to finest to trace it out. Then we go for the execution overview. So this is a contact insert trigger. What were the limits? To see limits, set profiling level to finest. So if you know, we have to again go to this, and then we have to change this. Okay, so this is a finest level. Contact on account is a finest level, I think so. So why it is showing that? No, it's the finest. So this all is finest, I think so. So why it's the issue? Okay, so we can check on that later. So this is the timeline, how much time it taken, apex code and all that stuff which we ran. Executed units, what are all the methods which we ran? You can check it here. What are all the queries which we ran? Then what are all the callouts? There was no callout. What are all the DML statements which we ran? Then what are all the validations, triggers? So these are all the triggers. What are the pages? In this manner you can check it out. So for an example, you want overall view, so then you have to select all the things. So this will have a holistic view of that, like stack tree, execution stack, execution overview, execution log, source, variables, and all that stuff. Okay, so this is about the debug tab which we have. Then if you want to create a perspective out of it, you can save it as another perspective. For an example, test 1. So another perspective will be created. So if you go to this perspective manager, a test 1 perspective will be there. Okay, so that's how you can create a perspective out of it. And now we will discuss about the test tab. So as its name suggests, we will be testing the Apex in this. So Apex provides a testing framework that allows you to write unit tests, run your tests, check the test results, and have code coverage results. So let's talk about the unit test, data visibility for tests, and the tools that are available on the Lightning platform for the testing Apex. So how we can test a particular code which we have written in the developer console. So first of all, we have always run asynchronously. So if we check this, the code will run into asynchronous mode. Majorly we run the code in synchronous mode. The triggers and all the things runs into synchronous mode. Unless it's an integration, we never know when the response will come back or when we will get a response from the third-party system. The second thing is if it's a batch job or it's a scheduled job or a queuable job Apex. In that, it's a asynchronous Apex. So if we want to, so for an example, this is a test class and this is a main controller and this is the test class for that particular controller. If we hit run test, so the test will be executed, and by clicking on this we can see how much coverage is there. If a particular line or the thing is not covered, then it will be in the red color. Okay, so now if I select none, so it will go off. So I will go to test. So as you can see in this, the result has been completed, what was the method and how much amount it covered. If we go to this test class, so this was the method. Okay, so by just clicking the run test on this particular test class, we can check the coverage for the controller, underlying controller, which has been covered in this particular test class. So now if we see this, so for an example, if you select new run and if you go to this particular test class, in this test class we only have one method. That's the reason it is only one. If there are multiple methods, it will be there. Then you can select out of that particular method which you want to run. So for an example, I have selected this one and I hit run. So that particular method run in this case. If there are 2 or 4 or 8 or 10 methods in a particular test class, you select only 2 methods, then only that 2 methods will run for that particular transaction or instance of that particular run. So if we want to rerun, so then the last executed code will again rerun. So for an example, if I will hit the rerun button, again the same thing will happen and the same code will be executed or tested again. So if you want, so if you go and click on collapse all, so all will be collapsed like this. If you want to expand all at once, you can click on expand all and all will be expanded like this. If you hit collapse all will be collapsed. If you want to expand, then you can click on expand. Okay. Then we have rerun fail test. So if any test has been failed due to some data validation issue when creating the data for the test class, or might be due to some DML exception, in that case, if we click on this rerun fail test, so all the tests which has been failed in the previous run will rerun. If we click on run all tests, so the org level test classes will run. So all the test classes which are in this org will run if I click on run all tests. So I have clicked on that, it is doing the test run. Now you can see it will have all the test classes which will be running. So these are all the test classes which are there in this org. If we want to abort this, so this operation will be aborted. Okay. Then if I go to the new suite, whatever you can say, so we can create a suite. The main thing is, like, if you want to run tests for specific like 4, 5, 6, 10, 12 test classes only, which you know or which you want to test, like how much coverage they have. So in that case, you can just go and type the suite name, might be test 1. You can click OK. Oh, so the name is already existing. So I have created one test already, but I will create one more, so test2, then a new test suite will be created. Now how many test classes I want in this particular test suite? So I have to just hold or click the control button and then I have to select the classes. So there are 4 test classes which I have selected, I have added it, and now I have saved it. So this new test suite, so new suite is ready. So I will just go to the suite manager to know. So there are 2 tests or test suite in this. If I want to edit any one of that, I can do that. If I want to delete it, I can delete it. If I want to rename it for this, then I can rename it accordingly. If I want to edit something in this, I can go to edit and then I can just remove any one of this if I want, and then I click save button. So this is about a suite. So now how we will run this. So for an example, I will go to the new suite run and then I will select test2. So in test2 there were 4 classes which we have added. We can have a setting stating that number of failures allowed to skip code coverage. No, we want the code coverage. So run the suite. So as you can see, a particular test has ran at this time, and these are the 4 test classes which ran. How many methods they have? They have 1 methods in common. It's like they all have one methods. So all have completed successfully without any failure. So that's how the suite thing works. So in that manner you can create the suite and then you can check that stuff. Then we have the clear test data. In this we can clear the test data which was created for this test purpose in the backend. If I go to this again, like clear log panel, so that log panel will be cleared. So for an example, as we have already seen the system.debug in the debug section, where we can use system.debug and then we can filter a particular log on that basis. So we can debug on that basis, but there is no system.debug in this particular class. That's the reason it is showing in this manner. In the same manner, if there is no system.debug, still we want to check what is coming or what is there in this particular line, what is returning or what is the value of new password, verified password and old password. So we have to just click on this, a checkpoint will be created. So this is nothing, this dot nothing is nothing but a checkpoint. The result of the checkpoint you can see in this checkpoints. Okay. So what we will do is, now we will again run the test class. So as now we have set the checkpoint on this line, we will just go to the checkpoint. Okay. We will go to the checkpoint, and as you can see, there is this. Now there is new password, the value is there, old password value is there, verified new password value is there. So what the value we have in this, what we have set up, all the values are there. So as you can see, so in this way you can easily debug without using or without doing anything in that particular class. So if we write anything in this particular controller class like system.debug or any statement, then we have to save it. But if we if we add a checkpoint in it, then it will be easy for us to just directly go to that particular thing and make that thing happen. So accordingly you can select the action script type like soql if you are using some soql in it. So if it is a Apex code, you can select that, and again I will run it. So if you again open it, it will show the same data because the same data is residing in it. Okay. Now if you want to clear it out, then you have to again go to this, clear the checkpoint result panel. So this panel is cleared. Now you want to clear the location. So again you have to go to debug, clear checkpoint locations. So now checkpoint locations has been cleared. So as we have covered most of the things, like the logs will capture the debug logs and the use mode or the debug level which we have set. The test will execute, or it will run the tests, and it will capture the data. So how many failures are there, and how many methods has been covered in that particular test class. The checkpoints, as we discussed in this video, particularly a query editor. In that we can get the data out of this org by using a simple query like select ID from the object which we want. We have to just hit the execute button and we will get that. View stated for the checking the state, like how much was the size. This is majorly for the Visualforce page which we track. Progress, if there is anything happening, or like any deployment is happening, or anything is deployed to this particular org, you can check the progress of that. Problem is when you have any problem, or when you face any issue while writing, or if you have any wrong syntax and syntax error is there, or if anything is not standard. Like for an example, if we have a context variable like trigger dot is insert, and if you write trigger dot is insert 1 or is insert 2, anything like that, then it will treat it like a variable and it will state that it does not exist because it's not a context variable. That's the reason. So furthermore, if I go to this particular record, if I want to access it, I can just directly go to that by open the detail page of this. I can select that and then I will just hit open detail page or edit page, or if I want to create a new record, I can click on this, a new account page will open up and I can fill in the details to create a record. If for an example, if I have ID and first name, if I execute it now, if I want to add something in it, like for an example AB, and if I save the row, so this will be saved. Insert new row. So as we all know, the last name is mandatory while creating a contact. So it is stating that required field is missing, that is last name. So in UI we have that option. In this, what we can do is we can write or in the particular query we can add the last name, and then we can add that last name so that it will work accordingly. So for that we have to just go to query editor again and write last name. Again execute it. So if I want to insert row, I will add a last name because last name is mandatory. So this record has now been created. So as you can see, we have successfully navigated to that particular contact object. Okay, so in this manner, this is very useful while writing the code. You can check what results are coming when you query this, and then you can accordingly use that particular query in your code. In the same manner, if I want to delete a particular thing, then we have to just select it, delete this row, and that particular record will be deleted. You can refresh the Git. The numbers will be, now it is 59. If I delete this row, and it is deleted. Okay, sir. Now I delete one more item and it is deleted. So now there are 57 only. So 2 entities are deleted. So this is all about the developer console and the tabs which we use, and majorly the tabs which we have in the bottom, like the logs, test, checkpoints, query editor, view state, progress, problems. So that's all for the developer console. Thank you.